that right?
That's right. That's right.
When black-Jewish relations first started, anytime you get in a dialogue with one of them, and the question of the facts surface, you tell them you know that there was no such thing as black-Jewish relations before 1915. It was not until the Atlanta head of B'nai B'rith, Leo Frank, was hung for murder on the testimony of a black man did the Jewish community begin to infiltrate, penetrate, and appease the direction and the selection of black leadership. We prove that. And part of what it proves is it affirms that there has never, ever, ever been a beginning of a relationship where Jewish wealthy fall into an alliance with college-educated blacks. Because on the surface, we understand that one has the money and the other must work for the money, and no alliance of equality can start unequally. That is the beginning of the nightmare known as black fake Jewish relations.
The NPR is doing has announced in a headline that there is a musical that is being done that centers around bigotry, anti-Semitism, and they are putting together a Tony Award-winning musical about the real-life lynching of a Jewish man in 1915. Now, if you don't know this story, it's because what happened was a Catholic girl got ruthlessly murdered by a wealthy Jew in Atlanta, Georgia, who was a member of B'nai B'rith, which is a Freemasonic Jewish group, which Sigmund Freud was a member of. So that tells you where we're at with like how they treat kids. Sigmund Freud was a member of B'nai B'rith. They were the precursor to the ADL. The ADL has tons of power. This guy's name was Leo Frank, this rich Jew who ran a pencil factory, and he ruthlessly murdered Mary Fagan, who was a poor Catholic girl who was working for him. And the people that worked at this factory, these miners, testified they were terrified of him, that he was gross, that he would make sexual remarks to them. This guy was so rich and so powerful that he then tried to blame it on a black guy. This is 1913 Atlanta. Like, you don't even have to give him a reason to lynch a black man, right? You could have just been like, he sneezed my way, and they would have lynched him. The evidence was so overwhelming that Leo Frank did it, that they actually said, no, actually, you did this. You did this, and you tried to pin it on your black employee because you know it's the South and it's racist, and that normally we would lynch this dude, but you're just up to your neck in guilt. He lied, changed his testimony multiple times, then tried to get another one of his friends, like tried to throw it on him, okay? And the ADL has been trying to go backwards and relitigate this and pretend that Leo Frank was a victim of lynching. Yeah, he did end up getting lynched because of what he did to a child. They hunted him down and they lynched him. But they want you to know he's the real victim of the story. Right? Because why can't you just kill a Catholic girl, right? You're wealthy, you're Jewish, it's a Catholic girl, you're in B'nai B'rith, a pretty powerful Jewish group. It's a Freemasons, and you can't just kill a Catholic girl, Mary Fagan, and get away with it. That, they're now turning it into a musical, because this is how they do stuff. They turn it into theater.
The International Order of B'nai B'rith was involved in the Civil War.
Yeah, that's right.
It made a note of assuring that the rabbis gave the rabbinical ruling that justified slavery using the Bible. You will not find any overt Jewish declaration against slavery in any document available in his story, because he had no position against slavery. And if you read him carefully, he will tell you he had no such position. So we're still looking at when did the black Jewish thing get going, and what did you come into it with? Because if you supported what put us in the jam, how you going to show up and get us out? Now, these are the beginning of things that confuse people who don't really understand what the black Jewish thing is. Many articles and other things with Henry Louis Gates, chump Negro at, where's he at? Harvard, at Harvard and Cornell West. A Negro who has a book out on race relations that says absolutely nothing. But they're going to pay to create him an image to give him authority to say negative things about black-Jewish relations. But they're going to pay to create him an image to give him authority to say negative things about black-Jewish relations. To give him authority to say negative things about black-Jewish relations.
When I was growing up, I only thought of race in terms of black and white. It wasn't until much later, when I learned about anti-Semitism, that I realized blacks and Jews face common enemies. But when we stand together, we are a formidable force.
The relationship between African Americans and Jews in the United States, it's not a simple story, and it cannot be a simple story.
It's got a really long history.
When these two communities get together and they synergize creatively or politically, they're a juggernaut, and they can't be stopped.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
When these two communities get together and they synergize creatively or politically, they're a juggernaut, and they can't be stopped.
Where is a black guy that has a Jewish person signed to him? Point it out. Tell me that. Where is a black person that's signed to a Jewish person? All of them. Basically 90% of them.
Jewish people have always been some of the first outside of the culture itself to embrace black music.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
A white Jewish producer and the greatest black jazz singer of all time. Why can't the world be like this?
Rabbi Heschel told he might not live because they're killing folk in Selma.
I think the civil rights movement healed our souls after Nazi Germany.
There was a very visible black-Jewish alliance during the civil rights movement.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
That relationship accomplished incredible things.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
But I don't want to romanticize the alliance because it wasn't an untroubled relationship.
To give him authority to say negative things about black-Jewish relations.
We want black power.
There is a profound sense of the Jews are the haves, the blacks are the have-nots.
Nothing has separated the Jewish and the black community more than this issue of affirmative action.
It's dangerous to make it all the same. We're not the same. We come from different histories.
To give him authority to say negative things about black-Jewish relations.
I don't consider myself white. And when I once told our class that, they laughed in my face. You laughed in my face.
I did.
Blacks and Jews in the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn clashed, inflamed by the death of a young boy.
The old alliance between blacks and Jews, is that in jeopardy now?
Very much so.
We must not allow the relationship between Jews and African Americans to suffer.
In Charlottesville, violent protests broke out at what was supposed to be a white nationalist rally.
When you see Charlottesville, you see that most people that are anti-Semites are also racist.
We begin with the conflict between Jews and blacks in America. The tension in the United States has been growing more and more over the last few years. From events like the Crown Heights riots to the dissension over issues like affirmative action and Zionism and black separatism, the two groups have found themselves at odds. Cornell West is the author of Race Matters. Michael Lerner is the founder and editor of Tikkun magazine. They met over a period of 6 years with a tape recorder between them to try to get to the heart of the divisive and volatile issues that separate blacks and Jews in our country. The results of their conversations appear in this book, Jews and Blacks, Let the Healing Begin, I am pleased to have them here to talk about what they discovered in their dialogue. Welcome. It's great to have you.
Thanks.
Good to see you.
Always good.
To give him authority to say negative things about black-Jewish relations.
Friend, how did this begin? I mean, whose idea was this, Cornell, to say, we need to talk, and out of that dialogue may come some idea or
I'd say
ideas?
very much Michael Lerner's idea. He invited me, based on advice of the late, great Michael Harrington, actually, to come and speak at a conference, 1989, I think it was. And from there, we became good friends and decided that if we were going to focus on social misery in America and try to transform the situation, transform it into a more egalitarian distribution of wealth and power and resources, that we had to highlight two groups that have served as solid pillars for progressive politics in America, namely Jewish Americans and African Americans. And so the dialogue began 6 years ago. Here's the result.
And the tape recording began 6 years ago? Or the, really?
Absolutely.
And I remember one night you and I were having dinner. Is that right?
That's
and
right.
Some, 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 is that right?
That's
and
right.
Some,